Hello again, welcome back. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's been an absolutely critical update in the last couple of minutes. So by the time elapsed that I did my last video and I refreshed the screen, two critical pieces of information have just been released by the press. I'll read you the first one, I'll read you the second one, and then I'll tell you guys what this means for global conflict on an industrial scale. And I'm going to be honest, guys, it's not looking good if you're in the West. So the first thing is, this is something that Donald Trump posted. Looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have long and prosperous future together, President Donald Trump. So what he's talking about here is his comment. Well, I'll just read it. His comments come after Vladimir Putin and Modi traveled to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit earlier this week, while Modi, obviously India, left before the military parade in Beijing on Wednesday. Putin was one of Xi Jinping's guests of honor. Trump has long been critical of India's closeness to Russia, hitting it with hiked tariffs for purchasing more of Moscow's oil. Right, the article goes on. The next article that comes out, that's literally just been out, the US informs of cuts to military, informs Europe of cuts to military support, officials say. Look, guys, if you go back through my videos, like I've said, this is coming, it's going to happen. Now, let's take the first instance first, because it's usually best. Donald Trump is saying we've lost India and Russia to darkest China. Now, we all knew that Russia and China were bros. That was an inevitability. Now, if you've been following my videos, I've said India and Turkey, they are key players. I did think with India's proximity with Pakistan siding with the Russians, I did think India was going to be siding with the West. But from Donald Trump's post, it does look like India are now siding with the Russians, with China, which, guys, look, if you're in the West, that's not good. India at some point will overtake China for manufacturing. So what I've been saying is we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. If the West don't have those two huge industrial hubs where you can produce stuff and get that stuff to the front line and get it used as quickly as possible, it's not looking good for the West, because we don't have that manufacturing capacity here, guys. We just don't have it. We have destroyed ourselves with bureaucracy, red tape, health and safety, all that sort of stuff. Kind of the stuff you don't need if you're fighting a global conflict on an industrial scale. So that's not good for NATO. That's not good for the West. That is just not good. If you're in the West right now, I mean like the Anglosphere, which would be, let's just say Europe at this point, guys, because I could do the upcoming Anglosphere in another video. But that is not looking good, guys. All right, we've lost that manufacturing capacity, as per Trump's comments. The next thing, US informs, and this is breaking, guys, right now. US informs Europe of cuts to military support, officials say. So we said this was coming. We said this was an inevitability. And how many times have I said this, guys? You know, that the West, that NATO, we need to pull our big boy pants on and deal with what's in our own backyard. We can't keep relying on the United States to give us free stuff. I don't think it should be a thing, but well, it looks like it's not a thing anyway. Now, these cuts are coming next year under a program known as Section 333. So it does look like the timelines have been identified now. And you can see this all over Europe. I mean, if you live in the United Kingdom, we really are sheltered from this. In the United Kingdom, the mainstream media, they're talking about immigration. They're talking about, quite rightly so as well, because that is a massive problem in the United Kingdom. I said in a live stream the other night that I think these people that are here in the United Kingdom, I was calling it. I said, I think these are actually some sort of military force. I didn't know whether that was a positive force or a negative force. It does look like these people. Anyway, sorry, that's a different video. So what we know now is the United States are telling the Europeans that they're cutting military support. What that's going to do, inevitably, it's going to force the Europeans to up their military production, up their military capacity. And this is what has to happen. If there's, and I believe we are, if we are heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, all that's going to matter is how quickly you can get your stuff from your factories through your logistic lines to the front line. And, you know, on the, I guess on the Russian side, they're doing that as well. But don't forget now, from what we've just heard, the Russians have the support of not just China, but potentially India as well. So here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. It's a serious question. Put it in the chat. Do you think that it's a ridiculous question? It's not a serious question at all. Do you think that Europe can out-manufacture Russia, China, and India? Tell me how you think that's going to run, guys. If this, which it will be, is going to be a global conflict at an industrial scale, tell me how Europe's industry can outproduce Russia, China, and India. I would say it's a one. I would say that is a one. I would say that is a. That's a done deal. Also, guys, some of the things I've been saying, even without this announcement, I'm not seeing a win for Europe, for NATO, European NATO, minus the United States. It's just not there. And the analogy I give lots of times is, imagine the world's best football team, right? The best 11 players, the world, any timeline, your best strikers, your best midfielders, your best defenders, your best goalkeeper. Give them the best diets, the best kit and equipment, the best training, the best physical mentoring, the best spiritual guidance, and you get the very best players ever that humans can provide ever. They're the best 11. Put them on a football pitch. Their opponent is 1,000 people. Of these 1,000 people, some of them are overweight, some of them are not fit. Some of them are wearing shorts and t-shirts. Some of them are wearing shoes. Some of them are wearing trainers. It's just a gaggle, but it's 1,000 people. Which one has the best football team? Of course, it's the best football team with all the best players, with all the best kit and equipment, with all the best facilities, with all the best backing. Which one of those teams is going to get the ball in the back of the net more times? Of course, it's the 1,000, because there's 1,000 of them. So that's what we were heading to previously. Now, with this announcement from Donald Trump, where he's saying it looks like we've lost India, and India is the main one there, guys, because of the manufacturing capacity. It looks like we've lost India to deepest, darkest China. It's not a good thing. I still have my fingers crossed for India, that that won't happen. But as we're looking at it right now, guys, that's what's been posted. That's what I'm reporting on. It's not looking good for Europe. It's not looking good for NATO. This brings us all into that wider Anglosphere, where the United Kingdom, the United States, Greenland, Antarctica, Israel, Australia, New Zealand, Japan and Taiwan are all one trading bloc, are all one Anglosphere. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I may have to do another video later. The rate of the news is coming out at the moment. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to back to grid. I'll get you guys another video later.